Welcome back to The Wave. I'm Dylan Polyakov.
And I'm Miles Ellman. Dylan, what in the world is happening with the NFL this year?
Well, Miles, since you asked about the NFL, I think it comes down to any given Sunday. Any team could beat any team.
Yeah, 100% Dylan. Just like how the Miami Dolphins beat the Denver Broncos 70-20, and then a couple weeks later, the Broncos beat the Super Bowl favorites going into this season, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, Miles, I'm going to stop you right there because the Dolphins are complete frauds. Undefeated against teams with losing records, they blow them out. Tua looks like the MVP, but when they play actual good teams like the Bills, the Chiefs, the Eagles, they tend to disappear. Tua is not the guy in Miami, and Tua doesn't have that it factor to win games.
Well, the Dolphins' O-line is completely hurt. The Bills game was our fault, yes, I'll admit it. But against the Eagles, the refs missed multiple calls. Even last week against the Kansas City Chiefs, in these games, we're one play away from beating these great teams.
One play away, the garbage time touchdowns do not count. They were down 21-0 against the Chiefs. The Dolphins' offense disappears, their O-line's hurt, and, I'm going to say a personal story for me real quick. Tua and the Dolphins remind me of my fantasy team. We both spend hours drafting and trading, refining our teams. Then we beat up on all the bad teams. And once my team and the Dolphins have to play teams with winning records or good teams, the teams to beat, they disappear. My team gets blown out against good teams, and I win against terrible teams. That reminds me exactly like the Dolphins. Tua does not have that it factor, and I'm convinced. In games that he has been sacked 2+ times, he's having worse numbers than Kenny Pickett right now.
Well, the refs are to blame in multiple games. Against the Eagles, for example, the Dolphins had 10 penalties and the Eagles had none.
Seriously, you're going to blame 10 penalties on the entire game? The Eagles were the much better team in that game. I don't even know why we're talking about that.
Well, the Dolphins had many big play opportunities that got called back and kept getting called back by the refs.
Many?
Yes.
I think maybe 3 officiating calls was all the wide effect for that game. And some of them, yes, were big calls, but that does not make up for Tua just disappearing for the first half of that game or even just in the end. He disappears. He's not that guy in Miami. I do agree with you that league-wide officiating has been a major cause of the games. I don't think that really makes up for the Dolphins, but the league's officiating this year has definitely taken a step down.
All right, we could agree on the officiating is a big problem in the NFL, and they need to do something about it. But Kenny Pickett, like you said earlier, is not that guy. He really is not good.
What? 5-3 for the Steelers? They beat teams with winning records, unlike the Dolphins. They beat playoff teams, Miles. The Dolphins haven't beat playoff teams. They're not frauds, and I'm confident when I say that.
Pickett is getting completely carried by his defense.
Defense wins championships.
True. The defense is great. But without Pickett in quarters 1 through 3, where Pickett is terrible right now, he is scoring almost no points. It is really hard for them to win games.
Miles, is that a bad trait to have, though? If your quarterback does nothing for quarters 1 through 3, kind of like how Tom Brady made his career during the playoffs, and he comes into that fourth quarter and turns it on and wins the game for your team, how would you not want that for your team? He has that it factor. That might be one of the only things I know that he has right now, and I can say with confidence, but I'd rather have that than Tua Tagovailoa that beats up on bad teams and just doesn't compete and doesn't win in the fourth quarter. But I think this all relies down to, like we said earlier, any given Sunday. Any team could beat any team. I think this is one of the most crazy years in the NFL that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree. This year is insane. Just like the Broncos, like I said earlier, beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They're one of the favorites for the Super Bowl right now.
Okay. Miles, let's be real here. Some of these teams, they're not making the playoffs, let alone are they even going to the Super Bowl. But it is a crazy year in NFL. Miles, who's going to win the Super Bowl this year? But before we talk about our Super Bowl picks, on December 9th at 10 a.m. at the Rolling Oaks Park, the Tana Southwest Ranches will host its annual chili cook-off and car show. The funds raised by the event will go to support the Astor Knight Park Foundation, which raises money to enhance and improve the quality of the town's parks. Now, let's get back to the Wave.
Personally, I have the Eagles. They're a great team all around. With that Georgia D-line and that fantastic offense, with Jalen Hurts at QB, the tush-push is unstoppable.
I'm going to tell you right here, I think it's going to be a Chiefs repeat. Taylor Swift will be at the game, and Taylor Swift does seem to be the it factor for the Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelce needs Taylor Swift. The Chiefs need Taylor Swift. The Chiefs will win it all if Taylor Swift goes to every game. She needs to cancel all her concerts right now if Travis Kelce wants another Super Bowl. But that, unfortunately, will be all the time we have this week here on The Wave. I'm Dylan Polyakov.
And I'm Miles Ellman.
See you next time.
See ya.